Hello, my name is Will Gamache, and I play the trombone, and today we're going to talk about how to structure your practice session. So, brass musicians at any level really need to start having a regular practice session. If you're totally new to band, this is your first year, high five, welcome. Now is a great time to start regularly practicing. If you're a more advanced player, hopefully you already have a schedule in place, but if you don't, we're gonna walk through it. So what I like to do every time I start practicing is I want to start with a good warm up. All of my warm ups start exactly the same way, actually. So if you're brand spanking new to the trombone and you can't hit like a ton of notes yet, you've maybe learned five, maybe you've learned one. That's okay. You still want to start with some long tones. So I'm going to do a little beginner long tone exercise, just using the first five notes of the B flat major scale, and then I'll go into what I do. So if this was my third week on trombone, let's say maybe I've gotten through the first couple of pages of the method book and I've learned to play whole notes and I've learned to play the first five notes, B flat up to F. Great, awesome. We can go ahead and do that together. So here we go. I'm going to start with whichever note is most comfortable for me. For me, that would be that low B flat. So I'm just going to play a couple of whole notes on each note and connect it into a little exercise. And you can do this at home. Maybe say you want to finish it off, we'll go back down. So here's E flat. And yes, those were indeed my first notes of the day. As a beginning trombonist or a beginning brass player, once you've done your long tones, and I have a different exercise I use for my long tones. I play lip slur melodies, which they come out of a book by an excellent educator named Brad Edwards. I can't recommend those enough. They're awesome. Nobody's sponsoring this video. They just work really well for me, and they've worked well for my students. So here's what I do as my long tone warm-up. That's generally how I start all of my practice sessions. Okay, so if you're a beginner, and maybe we've just got those first five notes, okay, maybe you're working on some band music. The next thing you want to do in your practice session, I would say, is let's work on a little articulation. So articulation is simply how you tongue notes, right? So I'll always articulate on the trombone. Sometimes I'll buzz. Sometimes I'll buzz at the beginning of my practice session. If you're in band class, you might be buzzing in band class. I hope you are at least a little bit to begin. Different people have different opinions on buzzing, whether you should all the time or whether you shouldn't. I like to buzz, I just didn't today. So you don't have to all the time, but being able to do it is also a good skill. So let's do some articulation exercises. We're going to use just our mouthpiece, and this is going to help your air, and also it's going to help the being able to like get enough of a solid airstream to articulate on the instrument, right? So we're just going to do a couple of quarter notes in a row, and when you're buzzing your mouthpiece, you're not going to hit an actual pitch, so just kind of make it kind of low. You can do this even if this is your third week on the trombone. We're going to do this. And you can obviously pause this and practice it on your own if you're trying to play along, which is kind of a cool thing. You should try it. And we'll do it a couple more times. One more time. And you'll notice my tongue doesn't stop the air. If you've ever sprayed anybody with a garden hose, if maybe you were a hooligan like I was when I was little, well, if you put your thumb or your hand over the end of a hose, the water doesn't stop. It just pushes against your hand. So your airstream is kind of like a garden hose, and your thumb or your hand is kind of like your tongue. It breaks the airstream, but the air has to keep going. So you need to make sure that you keep your air going while you're articulating. So now I'm going to do that on the horn. We're going to use those same 5 notes so this can be used for beginning band students. So here we go. We're going to just go 5. We're going to do 5 quarter notes on each of those first 5 notes, starting on low B flat. So here we go. Make them equal length. Clone your notes. Breathe. Breathe. 2, 3. Breathe. 2, 3. Breathe. And we'll go back down. Breathe. Rest, rest, breathe. Rest, rest, 6th position. And now B flat. Cool. So I think this is a good exercise even for me, because often as more advanced players, sometimes we tend to get away from practicing the fundamentals because we're playing all the crazy fun hard stuff. And it's just really important to make sure your quarter notes are alike. You can play in a bunch of different styles. Those were obviously kind of full length and fairly legato, but you know, you can practice that exercise staccato, short and separated, or with a doodle tongue if you want to be crazy about it. And you can, you know, everything in between, right? Accents on different beats, all those good things. If you're a more advanced player, obviously you would go into articulation exercises. As a beginner, because we're going to pretend that's what this audience is, and you know what? You guys are the bread and butter of the future of the trombone. So it's all about our beginners right now. So after doing some long tones, some articulation exercises, maybe some lip slurs, which I've talked about in a previous video, and there's some exercises there. In my practice sessions, that's when I'll then go to playing some of kind of the hard stuff, the stuff that I really need to work on. It's important to go ahead and start with the things that are like eating your vegetables, with the things you know that maybe don't sound so great. A lot of young musicians especially, and also me too sometimes, and I'm sure a lot of us, have a tendency to play stuff we know already sounds kind of good because it's fun to play and it makes us feel good. But it's really, really important to go ahead and also play that challenging stuff that'll help us grow, and so that then we can feel fully prepared for our next performance or our first performance, or you know, whatever's coming up. So then I'd go into that, and then after hitting kind of the hard stuff, then I try and find, some fun stuff I like to play, just kind of dessert music or stuff that this is where I'd play the stuff that I know sounds pretty good, but I know I still need to work on. I'm not going to do all that on this video, but then, after you've made a good dent in your practice session, which I don't believe should be based on time, it should be based on accomplishing goals, right? So if you've been sitting in your room holding your trombone for 30 minutes, but you haven't been doing a lot, or you've just been watching this YouTube video and not actually playing the trombone, doesn't count as practice. So you need to make sure that you're setting goals, right? And making sure that those are the things that you're practicing, trying to get better at the things that are hard. So we're going to finish with some dessert music. That's how I like to end my practice sessions, some dessert music and a warm down. So my dessert music, I like to figure out songs by ear. That's something that was a challenge for me for a long time. So I've started doing that more just for fun. And because it's finally fall now, I want you to name that tune. See if I can figure it out. Okay. See? Name that tune. All right. And then after playing some dessert music, something that'll make me feel good about myself, that kind of caught me by surprise. But after doing that, then I go ahead and I play a little warm down. So here's how I like to warm down. So I kind of gradually go down the horn and articulate a little bit and really try and relax my chops. Play a couple of pedal notes if those are things you know how to do. You can just do kind of a slow, easy gliss or some low notes if that's easier for you. Then I always end on the same note I started on, which, well, for this video is this guy. But normally for me in a regular practice session, it'd be my tuning B flat, this one. And I want to make sure that I end with a really pretty sound. So there you go. That is 13 minutes and 27 seconds of me talking about the trombone. If you need help structuring your practice session, feel free and shoot me a comment, and I will do my best to respond. Thanks so much. Have a great day.